So much for joining us today. My name is Vicki Townsend, and I'm the founder and president of Divorce Right. And we provide training for HR professionals and company supervisors, and we provide divorce coaching and case management, providing guidance and direction that your divorcing employees so desperately need. Divorce is a huge disruptor, not only to the employee going through it, but to the company they work for. And our coaches have a very unique perspective on divorce. And they have a deep understanding of the legal, financial, and emotional aspects. And they can handle even the highest conflict of cases with compassion and professionalism. Our coaches are trained to look at the entire picture, helping your employees make good decisions based on their goals and their expectations. So if you're an HR benefits manager or an HR benefits provider or consultant, please reach out to us and see if adding our suite of solutions is a good fit for your business. And I want to introduce you to Paulette Rigo. She's my friend, she's my colleague, and she is an incredible certified divorce coach and mediator, and she's one of the best in the business, and is the director of coaching and case management here at Divorce Right. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Vicki. I'm so glad we have this LinkedIn Live going on. So.
I am too. I'm really excited that we're going to be talking today about solutions for employees and for their financial success. And we've got a very special guest, Angel Duncan. So I want you to meet Angela. I'm sorry, I said Angela Duncan. She is a woman who defied the odds and survived a childhood of abuse and poverty. Angela was raised in Section 8 housing, welfare, and was working at a very young age. With 25 plus years of personal finance study, Angela has honed her expertise to inspire hope through financial literacy. Angela embarked on a diverse career in banking, financial advising, owning a top 10 RE/MAX office with over $2 billion in sales, and establishing and selling an insurance agency. She is a serial entrepreneur at heart, and now Angela is committed to closing the poverty gap by empowering others to change their financial future. She is the host of Empower Her Money podcast, a top 5% podcast globally. She firmly believes that no one should start there, no matter where someone starts in life, they have the power to shape their own destiny. I apologize for all of that tripping, Angela. Thank you so much for being with us today.
No problem. I'm super excited about our conversation today.
It's an important one. So I will let Paulette get us started.
Well, Angela is an angel. So whether we call her Angela or Angel, I'm sure she won't hold that against you. So, well, being that your expertise is money, and thank you for sharing a little bit of your own story. And I could see why having that experience as a child left such a mark on you, right? A tattoo of some ways. And good for you for helping others rise above any other fear about money. But as we all know, or don't know and are about to learn, divorce isn't free. And there are ways to save money and all that, and that might be another conversation. But divorce affects money. 80% of divorce involves the sale or purchase of real estate, but 100% of divorce involves money. So it is an important part of it. So divorce is expensive, and couples can lose both the financial piece with assets and income, right? It's just going to be a given. But so let's think of it from the employee's point of view. Like, why is having a financial stable employee important for the company?
Yeah. So if you think about from an employer's perspective, when an employee is going through a divorce, like you've already talked about, it can be extremely stressful. You have no idea where that employee might be at, how difficult is the divorce. It's going to change their life. And so as an employer, you want to keep that in mind, because stress leads to lack of productivity. It leads to lack of sleep, which could be lack of clarity in the job. They might be more accident prone. So you really have to think about all of those things with your employee. And so taking the time to, meet with that employee and kind of have a great understanding of where they're at and how you can help them as an employer, because obviously you know that they're going to get through this time period. So how can you support them best while they're going through this, but also keeping the employer as, top of mind because they still have a job to do every day. So I think it's really important for your employer to have that communication and to allow that employee to have open communication with you as well.
And it isn't just the preparing for the divorce and the going through the divorce, but once it's finally over, and you've got that fancy decree in your hand stamped by and signed by a judge, that continues as to whether there's alimony or child support or a division of assets, and does a property need to be sold. We could go on for a while about all the different financial transactions, right? The quadro might be needed for a 401k or a retirement or investment account, and all of those other acronyms that they're going to learn about. But when they're finally divorced and they have it completed, it's an ongoing journey of learning to shift from being in a dual income household with one home versus perhaps a dual income with two homes. And then if you're co-parenting and all of that, it really is important for the employer to understand that financial stability is important for them after the divorce, not just before and during. But so how do we keep them on track so that if they do get stressed out or overwhelmed, how can the employer really keep them focused on their work? It's not easy.
Yeah, so some exercises, before the divorce is final, it's a great idea to think about what is your budget going to look like. Now that you may not have two incomes, but you also may not have twice as much expenses. So figuring out, what is my income today? What are the expenses that are mandatory? Housing, food, gas, utilities. What does that budget look like? And then, do I have enough money to meet that budget? Or, am I going to have to really think about that? Because your lifestyle is going to be completely different. So we want to help them to live within their means. So having that budget is extremely important, but encouraging them, this is a time in your life now where maybe you want to pick up a hobby. Maybe you want to create some more income for yourself, and thinking outside of the box in ways that you can encourage them to help create that extra income, so they're not necessarily coming to you for a raise because of their situation, right? That's the worst possibility, is the employees coming to you saying, hey, I'm going through a divorce, I need more money. Well, let's first educate you and figure out where are you at with your financial information, and then how can we help you create income or cut expenses so that you can still live a comfortable life without coming to the employer and asking them for a raise because of your situation.
I see it all the time. I'm also a mediator. And as soon as we have to sit down to do the child support worksheet and fill in all the budget and all that, and then the domestic relations financial affidavit, I don't know the percentage, but it's a high percentage of people that simply don't have a budget.
Yeah. And how scary is that? I mean, the divorce itself is already extremely scary. The what if when everything is done, and how are you going to feel? What's your new identity? There's all these things that you're going through, especially as women is in divorce situations, because we may not have had the income that the husband had, and we still have the responsibility of the children. So that loss of identity, as an employer, I have to be able to understand that, my employees going through that situation, and to be empathetic with them, but also to be there for helping them figure out their own financial goals without them feeling that extra stress afterwards, because I do have to keep my company and the other employees in mind as well.
And I have to say, I know sometimes making that budget is a daunting, tedious task. Is that a nice word to put it? But once you've done it, it's empowering, and you know what you've got, you know where it's going. There aren't any surprises, or if there are, you can make some tweaks. Maybe that landscaping company is too expensive. Maybe I'm going to mow my own lawn. Maybe we're going to put it out for bid and get some other, you can tweak your budget accordingly. But it is empowering. It's a little time consuming to do it, but man, on the other side, it makes a world of difference. So.
It really does. And I want to share some statistics with our audience on really what divorce can do and why this topic is so super important, because men suffer with a 22% higher risk of bankruptcy after divorce. women suffer with an 18% greater risk. And divorce is the number one reason that single mothers find themselves in poverty. So think
Mhm.
about that. Section 8 housing, getting back to your roots, right? We don't want that for them. We want them to be able um, to learn how to live the way they, comfortably the way they are. And I know that, Angela, you have some amazing tips for employers and the employees and the employers to become like more financially wise, I guess is the word. You know, can you share, maybe some ways for them to learn about budgeting, and how to live within their means?
Yeah. So, from an employer perspective, the way to get in front of this is to truly think about the benefits that you're offering your employee, right? So, you could be offering health insurance, 401k plans, and those are great. But another thing you might want to consider is hiring an outside financial coach that comes in maybe once a month, meets with the employees, is helping them with their budget, figuring out their own financial situation. And the reason why you want to hire an outside person is because the employee is more likely to divulge all of their private information. They don't want to give it to you as the company or as the boss, but if you hire someone from the outside and provide this additional benefit, you're truly telling your employee, I care about you. I care about your finances. I care about your personal life. I'm hiring a professional to help you become more financially savvy. So from an employer perspective, that's a great way to get in front of maybe a potential divorce situation, is already have that in place. Now, from an employee standpoint, I've got a couple of apps that I want to recommend. The first one, and I did this, Vicki, we were talking about
We
this.
did.
We did this 7-day challenge. It's a subscription challenge, and it was challenging you to cancel one subscription per day. And people were asking me, well, how do I find those, right? There's an app called Rocket Money. And when you connect your bank and your credit cards to it, it's going to tell you all of your subscriptions that you're currently subscribed to. It's going to show you how much they are. It's going to show you what's coming up so that you can realize, what are you spending money? And in this new version of yourself post-divorce, do you really need that? Do you really need Hulu, Netflix? Do you need 2 gym memberships? This is going to help you get in front of some of those expenses that are in the future and potentially cancel them so that it's not part of your budget. Another one that I recommend, Get Upside. It's an easy app that you can download for gas. I use it because where I am in Miami, believe it or not, from block to block, it could swing $1 per gallon. So I'm looking for the best gas that fits in my budget, because why would I spend more on the same gas when it's just going to go into my car and be used, right? So Get Upside shows you all the local gas stations and what they're charging for the gas, and then you're just going to go drive to the one that's most economical because it's the same gas between the gas stations. Another one that I recommend, especially during the holidays, is called Card Cash. It's an app that brings buyer and sellers of gift cards together. So for me, I'm a Starbucks person, and it's just something that it's in my budget. I don't want to give it up, but I can go buy a Starbucks gift card from this app and save 10%. So my money's going further. And if I'm going to Best Buy or Walmart, or maybe, my kids like a certain brand of clothes, I can go buy that gift card. And I only recommend using this app for when you're going to buy the gift card, because then otherwise you're going to forget about the gift card. But if you're already intentionally going somewhere and you want to spend money at a retail store, look at the app first and see what's available. It could save you 10, 20, 30% off your purchase. So why not stretch your dollar a little bit further? And then my last recommendation is, if you are going to have to downsize, maybe you guys need to sell some furniture or some belongings as you go through that divorce, use Facebook Marketplace or the Offer Up app, which allows you to reach people locally so that you can sell things that you no longer need. Now, from a woman's perspective, be careful giving out your home address. If you're going to meet someone somewhere, make sure it's during the day, bring someone with you. Safety is a big concern of mine from a female perspective, but at least you have the opportunity to sell things locally, which will save you money on shipping when you're needing to get rid of just stuff that you've accumulated over the years and you just don't need for this future.
I found a lot of value just when I was moving, when I left Asheville to come to the Atlanta area. I used Facebook Marketplace like crazy, sold a lot of my furniture. Furniture is kind of hard to get,
Mhm.
to get rid of. There's not, big demand, particularly for sofas for some reason. Couches, there's just doesn't seem to be a big uh, uh, desire for somebody else's, and of course mattresses and things like that. But I did do well with Marketplace, just in getting rid of it. Did I get what I paid for it? Oh no, not even close. But I do want to say one thing, because I did take the 7 days cancel your subscriptions challenge. I literally saved thousands. I had re, I was being charged. I had an Audible account. I actually had two Audible accounts that I hadn't realized. There were several. I mean, I actually ended up canceling more than 7 subscriptions.
Mhm.
I'm going to bet you I saved $2,500, maybe $3,000 on subscriptions that I just didn't need. And you know what? I'll tell you another one that I found out, that I was being charged for Netflix, but that comes as a part of my T-Mobile. So I took care of that. So things like that you just don't think of. And I'm not the best. I will be honest with you. I'm not the best with combing through my credit card statements. So it was a big saving. So if you guys are out there, this is a great idea for yourself and for your employees. And I also love that card cash gift card discount. Is there a limit to the number of cards you can buy, or the number of times you can buy those?
I haven't reached the limit, so I don't know that there is a limit. It'll list out. Now, it could be that there's not as many cards available. The bigger brands, there's always going to be tons, but sometimes some of the smaller brands may only have a couple because it's bringing buyers and sellers together. So that would say that would be your limit. But these are all great tips, whether you're going through divorce, whether you work for someone, employer. These are things that you can use right now.
What's going through my head is that what I love with Walmart is that they, for the super Walmarts where they have groceries, is they'll do the shopping for you and they'll bring them out to your car. So to use this and get 10% off on your groceries, that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That's a great tip. Thank you so much for that. As we kind of close it up, is there anything else that, and Paulette, you jump into?
Yeah, we were just going to talk a little bit about financial education.
I really want to talk about how we can help everyone have a better experience financially through this process. Are there any tips, ideas, thoughts behind this, ladies, that we can get out there to the public, so that people don't end up in poverty? They don't need government assistance, and they can get through this in a kinder, gentler way. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a Christian woman, so almost every church that I know offers Dave Ramsey's course, Financial Peace University. There is usually a cost to sign up for it, but the people that are facilitating it through your church are mentoring and giving their time for free. So obviously I like free stuff. So if you really just want to dive in and get a firm foundation for your finances, that's a great way just to get started. And then, from an employer's perspective, you can hire someone from the Financial Peace University world, or you can seek out a financial coach that specifically looks for employers to help teach their employees about money as well.
Great. And my advice at this point is make sure that you do as much of the work that you can yourself before you engage in a litigation process. So once you sign that retainer, that contract, and you put down the retainer, it's this ongoing, cycle of billable hours.
Yep.
10-minute increments, month after month after month. And talk about recurring subscriptions. I mean, it's
isn't that the truth, right? There's no end. There you've got your checkbook open to these people.
And also shop around. I have been a proponent of flat rate legal fees for some time. I switched over my mediation fees and my coaching fees from hourly to flat rate. I don't know if I'm the only certified divorce coach that does it, but I am a firm believer in knowing what you need, knowing how long you need someone, and understanding the cost associated to that. No hidden fees. What you see is what you get, and there's that flat rate relationship, and they feel a lot more confident knowing that there's a contract and there's a proposal, and they're going to receive what they signed up for and for the price that they agreed to. So whether it be an attorney, right, or a mediation service, or a certified divorce coach, or whatever professional that you need. Some of them don't charge fees. I'm going to say realtors and mortgage brokers typically will, they're paid by the transaction or the lender, but some of them don't charge a fee from the consumer. But for the most part, you can really do your research and save a lot of money if you can find someone in your area that will opt for a flat rate service instead of that hourly experience. My clients really appreciate it. I offer different packages as far as what they really need, meaning how long have you been married? How contentious is it? How complicated is your situation? Do you own a business together? Are there multitudes of different ages of children? You get the idea. Everybody's case is going to be different. Some people might have a very simple and they don't need the high-end services. So why should they pay for them if it's not something they need? So that's my 2 cents worth, is making sure that you shop around. And, just because they say their rate is, I don't know, $425 an hour or $275 an hour, whatever it is, say, would you do it for $250, or whatever, and if they won't, they won't, and you'll have to honor that, and you should respect their rate. I'm not saying that you should, try to break them down or anything, but you'd be surprised at how many things are negotiable. They really
Absolutely.
are.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that you said that hit home for me the most was do as much of this as you possibly can on your own.
Mhm.
Don't wait until your attorney says, okay, you need to get me all of your W-2s, your last 3 paycheck stubs, all of those things. Don't wait for that, especially when you're in the stress of, once you've kind of gotten that contract going, you've agreed to that.
Mhm.
The stress of that makes it so hard for you to come up with, a good, timely response. Try and be organized, get your financial picture together, get all of those documents together that you're going to need for money, just like you would for a tax return. Know what your expenses are, know how much, if you want to keep your home, what is that going to look like for you, right? Without your partner. Understand all of those pieces before you walk into a mediation or a litigation where you're asking for something that may or may not serve you. So understanding, that whole financial picture, I think is, a really, really important piece. Angela, how can our viewers get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can reach me on Instagram or TikTok as Empower Her Money, which is also the name of my podcast. Would love to answer any questions, that this might have triggered for you. Just send me a message on Instagram.
Oh, that's awesome. So Empower Her Money. And if there's any questions, if we can support you or your employees as they move through the divorce process, we see that we're doing some great work with first responders, firefighters, and police officers, um, doctors, surgeons, believe it or not, casino workers. All of there are certain fields that experience divorce at higher rates. If we can support your employees as they move through a really, really challenging process, please reach out to us and let you know how we can support your employees as they move through this process. I appreciated you today. I appreciated this conversation. I think that money is a difficult topic for all of us. but knowing where you stand, knowing what your future looks like is super important, and it's important to us. Paulette, thank you, my friend, for being with us today, as always. And Angela, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Come up and visit us in Atlanta. And we look forward to talking to you all next Thursday as we discuss another way that you can help support your employees as they move through a really difficult life crisis of divorce. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye for now.